My name is Sterling, and I am on location. My outdoor adventures along the Oregon coast have consisted of wind and water. From wetsuit surfing near the Devil's Punch Bowl, kite flying with the Lincoln City Summer Kite Festival, and kiteboarding with Flores Lake Kite and Windsurf. I ran the risk of having permanent windswept hair, if I had any. I needed sand between my toes, so we made our way to the Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area. These dunes are the largest coastal sand dunes in North America and were formed over millions of years of wind and rain. They are part of the Siuslaw National Forest and administered by the United States Forest Service. The Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area offers multiple recreational activities, including off-highway vehicle use that I was excited to try. First, I was meeting with Jody Phillips from Save the Writers Dunes, a nonprofit organization of writers committed to restoring the area and controlling invasive vegetation in designated areas. Good morning, Jody.
Morning, Sterling.
Thanks so much for coming out here and meeting us. We're really interested in the invasive plants that we planted on purpose to save the sand dunes. What are they really doing to our sand dunes?
Well, it's amazing. A European beach grass, which they planted about in earnest in the mid-50s is when they started. It's a species that actually does very well killing sand.
It's doing a fantastic job.
They used it in Europe for years. And basically what it does is it grows in sand very well. And then as wind blows over the sand, it grows right through the sand and it just keeps building. And so what's happened is they planted it along the beach knowing full well what it was going to do. I mean, it was a planned plant. And over time, it created this, what they call a foredune, that continued to get bigger and bigger. And what that's created out here is kind of a natural lake. It's not very deep, but just enough to start accumulating seeds and all kinds of stuff and builds up what they call a biomass. Nothing but growth. It's so thick in there that even deer can't even walk through it. It's how thick it is.
So now it's really feeding on itself. This European beach grass has really taken a strong foothold.
Yes.
It's creating this huge biomass interwoven sand dune. And what do you do?
Well, we started, Save the Writers Dunes started in 2009, really to protect the Oregon dunes. We're more land use advocacy group. Everything is to promote, safe riding, cleanup, and tearing the vegetation out.
There's lots of room for everyone to come and help how they can.
Absolutely. My first visit to the Oregon Dunes was in '57, and I fell in love with the place. It's just, what's not to like about a big sandbox, basically.
Especially if you're 5.
Yeah, especially if you're 5. Yeah, there's so much to do, and then it's leaving a legacy, if you will, with my family. More so than anything else. It's entirely family what keeps me.
It's a real bonding for your family, and that makes them also bond with more of the community.
Absolutely.
Because they have that foundation of you.
Yep.
But thanks for all the information.
You bet, Sterling. Thank you. Our job is to communicate to the general public about what's going on out here, and through you folks, we're able to do that, and that's exactly what we want.
After our conversation, Jody took us into the heart of the dunes for a closer look at some of the invasive species threatening the area. We also visited a recently completed restoration project in partnership with the United States Forest Service. This is a Scotch broom pod. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of these on each of those plants over there. They're alien invaders and ready to go. Part of the solution is now part of the problem. It does a fantastic job of setting up biomass, but it introduces so many plants that it's just overtaking all the dunes. It had seeds inside it, but they blew up and went everywhere. Woo! In the 50s, when they started the plan to calm the sand down, it was because it was just flowing over the highways, it was dangerous, so they tried to really control it, and it's really working. A little further on, and amidst the people enjoying the dunes, Jody introduced me to the Signal Tree Project, a restoration recently completed as a joint effort between Save the Writers Dunes and the United States Forest Service. The signal tree now grows within a cleared area with a tree distinctly visible from the surrounding dunes. Prior to the restoration project, the invasive species of European beach grass, Scotch broom, and shore pine had risen some 30 feet, completely obstructing the tree from view. The signal tree has proven an important navigation landmark for off-highway vehicles, hikers, and tourists alike. Though the invasive species will likely never be eradicated, with the help of organizations like Save the Writers' Dunes, the signal tree once again has a chance to thrive and contribute. And with that encouragement, it was time to say goodbye to Jody and have some sandbox playtime. Somewhere within the Oregon dunes, and amongst the families I passed having fun on their toys, a friend of mine was waiting for me on his side-by-side. In the southern part of the Oregon Coast Range lies one of the largest expanses of temperate coastal sand dunes in the world. In 1972, Congress designated a 31,500-acre portion of the Siuslaw National Forest as the Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area. But as I learned from my morning with Jody Phillips of Save the Writers' Dunes, the area is under threat from the invasive species of European beachgrass, Scotch broom, and shore pine. It's doing a fantastic job.
It's a species that actually does very well killing sand.
Since then, the United States Forest Service has partnered with organizations like Jody's and others within the Oregon Dunes Restoration Collaborative to implement a broad restoration strategy. If the Signal Tree Project is any indication, their efforts seem to be working. Because of this, off-highway vehicle users may continue enjoying the various designated roads, trails, and beaches for years. It was at a nearby beach access point that I would find my pal, Kai Shelton, a stuntman and special effects coordinator from the movie industry.
I do more effects than I do stunts.
But you have a face for stunt. Whoa, and then the random explosions. Kai has piloted, blown up, and burned dozens of vehicles, typically on purpose, and knows a thing or two about making side-by-sides perform. A side-by-side is a small, four-wheel drive off-road vehicle that seats between 2 and 6 people. They come factory-equipped with a rollover protection system. These rigs are further defined by having 4 more wheels, with maximum speeds over 50 miles per hour, which I'm pretty sure we'd be testing today.
I've always had motorcycles and four-wheelers and cars, and I had a dune buggy that was a ridiculous old-style dune buggy with a big V8 and big tires on the back and janky suspension, and it was really fun and fast, but you couldn't really jump it. If you did, it was frightening. So I had that and some other stuff, and I decided I wanted to get something a little more modern and cushy that I could also use for film stuff. So this one's a lot faster and smoother, and with the new stabilizing arms, you can put it on and go through big bumps, and it keeps the camera nice and steady.
Okay, so this is your tax write-off.
Yes.
All right. What's the main difference, and why are side-by-sides so popular now, pushing out all the sand rails, dune buggies, modified Jeeps that are out there?
I think mostly so you can take your buddies with you. There's 2 and 4 seaters, and you can take your friends or family, and you're in a cage. It's more like a car, and you feel a lot safer. And for me, I started out on the dunes here riding motorcycles, because I've ridden motorcycles a long time. And it was fun, but every time my family would come around the corner, I'd be landing on my head or doing something stupid. And so I convinced my wife that I needed something with a cage around me. And it's one of the faster ones. I mean, it's made for racing and just going fast. It's not made for any kind of work or utility or anything. Yeah, it's just made for going
fast.
Silly things and flying through the air.
Yeah, like our motto, go fast, look dumb. Well, because you're a pro. You pay attention. And so that's the thing. You got to know your limits. So just start driving, and then a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Just don't go crazy from the beginning.
Yeah. I always tell my son, if you're looking at the chicken coop and you think you're not going to make it, you ain't going to make it.
All right, Kai. Well, thanks for coming out. Let's go see what this thing can do.
Okay.
Let's go. The plan was to start nice and calm, driving along the beach with Kai at the wheel. In true stuntman fashion, that calm eroded quickly. Truly designed to be an off-road rig that the entire family can enjoy, side-by-sides stand out amongst the UTV crowd for their capability, comfort, and confidence. Certified restraint belts and a compliant roll cage bring an additional element of safety to the adrenaline rush. Although Kai is a professional driver and we do not recommend you try his moves at home, basic operation of a side-by-side is simple and fun. In Oregon, side-by-sides have designated trail and access areas within the Bureau of Land Management, the Forest Service, the Oregon Department of Forestry, and various county sites. The Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area consistently ranks within the top 5 best places to ride in North America, but nearly every state offers some form of access. So, no matter where you live, you are never too far away from the perfect off-road trail.
So it's surprisingly light in the butt. I really like how fast it is.
After experiencing what I felt was a great introduction to the side-by-side, we headed slightly further inland for my turn to drive.
In, one bump up, here we go.
Off-road and performance driving is a skill I have practiced. Decades ago, I qualified for the NHRA Grand Nationals in my modified 1972 AMC Gremlin X. And being raised on a ranch, I started driving around 4 years old. The origin of the side-by-side off-road vehicle dates to 1970 with the introduction of the Lockley Wrangler. It promised outdoor fun with speeds over 50 miles per hour in open country, enough guts to climb 45-degree slopes with 3 adult riders, and was amphibious. While side-by-side driving with a stuntman and kiteboarding with Flores Lake Kite and Windsurf leans more towards the extreme, options equally enjoyable include wetsuit surfing at the Devil's Punch Bowl and the kaleidoscope of colors and larger-than-life kites at the Lincoln City Summer Kite Festival.
That's pretty all right. It's a good time, it's a lot of fun. It's easy to get out and just kind of run around. It feels really safe. Kai's a much better driver.
Most people get stuck right away.
Well, I was trying to baby step and not get stuck right away.
We will all have our favorites among the available activities. One thing is for sure, outdoor adventures are alive and well along the coast of the Pacific Northwest. I know, because I've been on location.